And this is kind of the bad news. This is not improved since the last board meeting. State water project allocation is 5%, which means for Avek, I think it's about 7,000 acres. We do have, just looking at our portfolio, we do have some carryover from 2013, so we have an allocation available from last year that we hadn't used yet at about 12,000 acre feet, and that's theoretically in San Luis, so that's available to us. We also have locally banked and water right water here locally, and we have other sources that, further we get into the dry year, if it remains dry, they will probably establish a dry year program, and there's an opportunity to buy water there. If it continues to get, critical, we'll continue to try to exercise other options. But that's kind of what we're looking at right now for our water supply. For the Northern Sierra snowpack, right now it's at 19% of average for this date. They did a snow survey. They do an official snow survey on the 1st of January, and that's kind of what they came up with, is 19%. So it's been very bad snowpack thus far. They have a forecast with the Water Resources Control Board. They categorize years in either wet, above normal, dry, and below normal and critical. And right now it's bad enough to where the forecast is critical. Oroville is at 56% of historical average, which has dropped from the last time we talked, and San Luis is at 47% and that's historical average. The storage at Oroville continues to decline. The blue line is the actual storage. The red line is the flood control envelope, so we could be storing that much, but it's interesting to look at where we are now versus where we were last January at this time. That dotted line, that vertical dotted line, kind of shows where the first of the year. So we were over 2.4 million, 2.5 million at this point. We're right down to about half of that. This is San Luis, so this is water that we've got south of the delta, and this is the dark blue is the DWR share, and that's where our carryover, that 12,000 I mentioned, that's where that carryover is. This is the Northern Sierra 8-station index. What they do is, you'll notice the map up there in the upper left-hand corner shows all the places that they measure this, and it gives them a feel for what the State Water Project might be able to develop. If you look at the current daily precipitation, 3.3, you'll notice that it's right on that red line, and that red line is 1976-77. And you'll notice that it's also flat. This is a few days ago. Nothing has happened since the 9th, and I looked at the 10-day forecast, and there's nothing in the forecast. So I would imagine that line is going to continue to go flat. So we're going to be below what any of the historical averages have been at this point. State Water Project issues. The Bay Delta Conservation Plan, this big, huge document. I was in the Chief Counsel's office of the Department of Water Resources, and I noticed all these binders, and it was probably a set of binders from here to that wall for the plan. And I thought, wow, that's a big document. And then I turned around, I looked over, and there's some more binders on that wall. There was another 3 or 4 feet of binders. It's a huge document. They're in the comment period now to try to get public comments on the plan. Tomorrow I will be in Sacramento on this water supply contract extension negotiation. We're continuing to work on that, and I've been updating you on that. That's to get an extension on the contract, because right now our contract expires in 2035. You may think 2035 is a long ways off, but when you're selling, you have to have a funding source to sell bonds beyond that. So that's only 21 years, and that means that you would have to sell bonds for 21 years. And when you're doing big projects, that just isn't long. So we're negotiating to extend that contract. Right now, it's mainly accounting type things, what funding buckets these monies would be in and so forth. But the big ticket item is how long we're going to extend the contract. You may have seen some news that the department has established a drought management team. They had a press conference a day or two ago and a workshop. So they're starting to gear up for the dry year program. We haven't seen a lot of discussion or anything from that yet, but they're starting to get engaged in a dry year program. State water contractors contractor board meeting is this week. Mike and I will be there on Thursday for the board meeting. On Wednesday, I'm also meeting with the Director of Water Resources to talk about that 12,000 that's unallocated, that 12,000 in Table A. And I'll be going up there with Palmdale to kind of make the argument that the Antelope Valley is an adjudicated, we're in the process of adjudication. We're willing to pay for the water. We're willing to step up to the plate. So we'd like to see it allocated to the Antelope Valley.
Hello, we're here with Teresa McGuire, and you've been having a send-off party for her. She's entering the, you say entering the convent? Or
entering the Marian Sisters of Santa Rosa.
Uh-huh. And people have been saying farewell and goodbye, and
yeah, I've been saying goodbye
to
my family and friends. And just adjusting to my new life, where especially in the community that I am joining, they really focus on giving every moment to Jesus through Mary and the way of St. Louis Marie de Montfort. So that's a very important part of our spirituality, and it's something that I have always held dear. I, from the beginning, have always wanted to serve others. I started out when I was a young teenager training to be a firefighter, and so that did not work out, but I have done other things, nursing, and always thinking about other people and giving myself for other people, but this will be a more complete fulfillment of that. I'm very excited and just looking forward to this next step that I know will be filled with so much joy, and I will be able to assist others so much more than I could now.
Here in Los Angeles at the L.A. Auto Show. This is Ford's C-Max Energy. Sells for about $37,000 and has 100 mile per gallon sticker. Sitting inside the car is fine. There's leg room down here for a 6'4" person, and like in all Ford's cars, the screen is important because it not only shows sound and direction, street directions, but it's also now going to hook up to your cell phone, so you can keep your hand on the wheel and still talk. The controls for the cell phone are right here on the steering wheel on the right hand side. Pick up, hang up. These are the charging instructions. Says you can fully charge it within 7 hours. Plug is right there. Using the faster charging, 240 volt, you can charge a Focus in 3.6 hours and a Fusion Energy in 2.5 hours.